Are you a fan of unbeatable heroes, insane power-ups, and jaw-dropping battles? Then you're in for a ride. Today, we're counting down the top 10 anime featuring overpowered main characters, those legendary leads who are simply too strong for their own good. Let's jump in. 10. Ragna Crimson. Said to be humanity's natural enemy, formidable dragons that belong to an ancient bloodline roam the world. Only two ways prove effective to kill a dragon: freezing their blood with silverine, an aura that comes from silver weapons, or letting their bodies be incinerated by sunlight. Young hunter prodigy Leonica is accompanied by her close friend Ragna, who appears to lack the skills necessary in their profession. Moreover, many shun Ragna, considering him cursed because dragons always seem to attack him and slaughter his close ones. Nevertheless, Leonica sees potential in Ragna and gladly partners up with him. Likewise, Ragna feels certain that Leonica is immune to his misfortune thanks to her incredible strength. His confidence is shaken, however, when Ragna dreams of Leonica's death, believing this to be a prophecy. As the destined day arrives, he comes face to face with his future self, who bestows him enormous power and memories from the future to ensure Leonica's safety. In order to succeed, Ragna must join forces with a mysterious figure known as Crimson and eradicate all dragons for good. 9. K-Project. Kings are individuals who have been bestowed with incredible supernatural powers and granted the ability to recruit others into their clans. Protecting the lives and honor of their clansmen is an integral part of the king's duties. After a video depicting the heinous murder of a red clansman spreads virally, the unassuming student Yushiro Isana is accused of homicide. Now, a manhunt is underway for his head, bringing him into contact with the infamous black dog Kuru Yatagami, a skilled swordsman and martial artist determined to follow the wishes of his late master, the Seventh King. Meanwhile, the current Red King, Makoto Sua, faces his own imminent demise as the search for Yushiro narrows. But during Yushiro's struggle to prove his innocence, a greater conspiracy is unraveling behind the scenes. Clouds begin to appear in his memory and close friends start to question his very existence. What began as a simple murder is now leading towards a full-blown war between kings with the very fate of the world at stake. 8. Remonster. Tomoki Kanata has been reincarnated in the weakest goblin named Gobaru after having undergone an unfortunate death. However, Gobaru has retained his previous life's memories and unusual evolution, as well as becoming strong enough to gain status boosts from eating. In this alternate world of survival of the fittest, events unfold with competent subordinates and comrades. Delightful case of the tail-wagging dog. 7. Wisteria Wand and Sword. When humanity was oppressed by mysterious foes known as the Celestial Hosts, 5 exceptional mages joined forces to defeat them. In fear that these formidable enemies would return, the 5 most powerful mages, known as the Magia Vander, built a magical dome and a tower to contain them. Since then, the 5 strongest mages of every generation are tasked with monitoring the dome from the top of the wizard's tower. Inspired by this story, childhood friends Will Serfort and Elfaria Albiz Serfort promised each other that they would climb to the top of the wizard's tower. However, now a 6th-year student at Redjardin Magic Academy, Will's future looks bleak. Although Elfaria managed to join the ranks of the Magia Vander 5 years prior thanks to her unparalleled magical power, Will has no magical abilities whatsoever, attracting the ire of teachers and students alike. However, blessed with an exceptional physique, Will is able to slay monsters in the labyrinth and prevail against skilled magicians with the only aid of his sword and a few magical items. Determined to climb the wizard's tower at all cost, Will is determined to not let anyone or anything prevent him from keeping the promise he made to Elfaria. 6. Martial magic and muscles. In this magical world, one is easily identified as having magical abilities by a distinctive mark on their face. Those unable to practice magic are swiftly exterminated to maintain the magical integrity of society. However, deep within a forest lies an anomaly in Mash Burndead, who can be found pumping iron with one arm and lifting a cream puff with the other. This aloof boy with superhuman strength but no magical abilities leads a quiet life with his father, far removed from society. Mash's peace is soon disturbed when the authorities discover his lack of magical powers. They issue him an ultimatum: compete to become a divine visionary, which would force everyone to accept him or be persecuted forever. To protect his family, he enrolls in the prestigious Easton Magic Academy, which only the most elite and gifted students are allowed to attend. Now, Mash must overcome his shortcomings as a magic-less being and surpass the other students, relying solely on his muscles. 5. Banished from Our Hero. Deemed a good-for-nothing for his low level and lack of a God-given gift, Alan is stripped of his noble status and banished from the Duchy of Westfell. But Alan has a secret: he was a great hero in a previous life, and he's thrilled for the chance to finally live the way he pleases. His drama-free existence, however, is soon interrupted by a desperate encounter with his ex-fiancée. As a former hero who still possesses the incredible powers from his past life, Alan can't ignore someone in need, no matter how much he might like to. And so begins the new heroic saga our former hero never wanted. 4. Mission Yazakura Family. After losing his entire family in a car crash, Taiyu Asano tries to pull away from his childhood friend, Mutsumi Yazakura, but she assures him she is not going anywhere. Nevertheless, Taiyu becomes socially awkward, struggling to make friends at school despite the efforts of his persistent classmates. One day, the vice principal calls Taiyu to his office only to begin threatening the boy's life. Taiyu is swept away by a stranger and eventually awakens to Mutsumi, who introduces him to her siblings, a family of spies who harbor superhuman abilities. Every generation produces one ordinary human who becomes the family head. Mutsumi is one of these, and the family's mission is to protect her with their lives. 3. The Archdemon's Dilemma. The young but feared sorcerer Zagan is a candidate to become a member of the 13 Archdemons, a group of the strongest sorcerers in the world following the death of their eldest member, Marcosius. When attending the deceased Archdemon's estate auction, Zagan finds something he did not expect: love at first sight. The sorcerer impulsively spends all his money to take Nephilia, a rare elf slave, back to his castle. Given the girl's mysterious and troubling past, there is a lot for Zagan to uncover about his new companion. However, Zagan's lack of experience with the unfamiliar feeling of love leads to many awkward moments between him and Nephilia, whom he calls by the nickname Nephi. As the two grow closer and get more comfortable around each other, it becomes increasingly evident that Nephi's feelings might not be so different from Zagan's. 2. That time I got reincarnated as a slime. Satoru Mikami's life was pretty ordinary. At age 37, he was coasting along with a decent job but no girlfriend. That all changed when he was stabbed to death in broad daylight, and his final thoughts were translated into special abilities in his next life. Reborn in a fantasy world, Satoru now has a wide variety of skills and powers available to him, but the downside is that he's no longer human. Instead, he's become a blue slime monster and is alone in a cave full of magical plants and minerals, or so he thinks, until he runs into a giant dragon named Veradora. Satoru and Veradora soon become friends, but there's a violent world waiting for them outside the cave. 1. Hell's Paradise. Sentenced to death, Ninja Gabamaru the Hollow finds himself apathetic. After leading a blood-soaked life, Gabamaru believes he deserves to die. However, every attempt to execute him inexplicably fails. Finally, Sajiri Yamada, a seaman, a fledgling member of a famed executioner clan, is asked to take Gabamaru's life, yet Sajiri makes no move to kill him as requested. Insisting that Gabamaru will not die because of his love for his wife, Sajiri instead offers him the chance to obtain a full pardon for his crimes. If he can travel to the island of Shinseikyo and obtain the elixir of life, which supposedly grants immortality, and bring it back for the shogun, then his freedom will be assured. But of the many who have traveled to Shinseikyo in search of the mythical elixir, not a single person has returned sound of mind, if at all. Though unaware of the numerous dangers ahead, Gabamaru decides to accept the offer alongside 10 other death row convicts, in hope that he and his wife may finally live in peace. From slimes to psychics, demons to dungeon hunters, these characters redefine what it means to be overpowered. Which one is your favorite? Did we miss someone? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and smash that notification bell for more epic anime content.